today we are talking about motivation. That is a big topic. So tell me in the chat, what are some things that help you to stay motivated? Is there anything that you can think of that has been a real motivating element for you in your life? Just let me see those answers come across. Hey there, Shaft, third day, of course, and Angie, yes, third day, fantastic. You guys are sticking with it. And that is really very, very important. And the reason that I asked on Motivation Day for you all to say, you know, how long you've been participating this week, it's totally fine if you're like, what is the Master Your Mind Challenge? Why is this woman here live? It's fine if you're just finding us, you can catch up. But the reason that I asked how long people have been here is you can see the people who are dedicating themselves, who took the commitment statements that they've made earlier this week, and they're really sticking in there. And when I see those names and I start to familiarize myself with your names, I start to see them pop up over and over and over again. I know those are the types of people who are winners. Those are the people who run through the finish line. So I want you to write that down in your notes right now. Winners run through the finish line. And what does that mean? That means that when you dedicate yourself to something or someone or a mission or anything, that you are focused on finishing, but not just finishing, not a checkbox type of a thing, not just getting it done. You're focused on finishing your best game. So I want you to write down, winners run through the finish line. Yes, letting others know about your goals. Kendra, that's fantastic. And Kelly, I know you've been here since the first day. I know, absolutely. So all of these things that you guys are saying motivate you, self-enjoyment. I love that. Angie, that's a really good answer because enjoyment is motivating. If you know that the results of something that you do will get you some sort of enjoyment or even a healthy pride, then yeah, that's a motivation. You know, this morning, for some reason, do you all ever have one of those nights where for one reason or the other, you didn't sleep as soundly as you usually do? That was last night for me. So when I woke up this morning, and usually I'll wake up before the alarm clock goes off, before any of my alarms go off, but that was not my day today. That was not my story today. And that's okay, which is interesting that it happened on Motivation Day. But that was not my day today. So my alarms got to gently prod me into being awake. And I decided I'm going to go ahead and do what I was going to do otherwise, even if I would have had the most perfect night's sleep, even if everything would have just gone exactly how it should go or how I had planned for it to go, which we all think is how it should go. I got up, I did my morning routine, I put on my workout clothes, got my sneakers on, and I did my workout. Why? Did I want to do my workout? No, you guys, I super wanted to roll back over and go back to sleep. Anybody with me? But what I said to myself is, I understand what my goal is, and I understand how I can behave in this moment to be my best self. And that is sticking with my routine, doing my stretches, doing my breath work, doing my journal, my gratitude, my yoga. And then, guys, that's just all basically brushing your teeth to me. It's just the thing that you do when you wake up. And then I'm like, okay, now I get to start my day. Now is my workout. Okay, so understanding the end game is really, really important when it comes to motivation. I'll pull myself full screen. Hello, pull that big logo off of there. Fantastic. Yes, Kelly, good. Thank you for writing that in. Winners run through the finish line. Yes. So if you have your success journal, then I want you to go to page 21. That is day 3 motivation. And hopefully you've been looking through your journal outside of class because it is meant to be something that is a companion piece to the live lessons. So if you haven't already, go ahead and jot down a few things in that box, in that blank that's there for you, and talk about the few things that motivate you. You know, for me, I've just told you what motivates me is understanding the outcome. So understanding the outcome is a big motivation. What would I feel like right now if I had rolled back over, if I hadn't gotten up, I hadn't done my morning routine, my breath work, my yoga, all of that, and then my workout, my cardio. I need some cardio. I need to get my heart rate up really to feel my best and to feel like I'm really alive and awake. Anybody else with me? You kind of have to get a certain thing done. Some people say, yes, I have to have coffee. No. There's so many better things than caffeine to wake you up that are healthier for long-term success. But, what are those things for you? What are those things for you? And something that really helps me is have any of you ever hit one of those moments where you know that there are things that you should do, but there's just nothing inside you that's propelling you to complete these things? I mean, it's tough. I think we all have those moments. So give me a yes in the chat if you've ever felt that. You're like, I know I need to do this, but there's just, I don't know where the power or the energy is going to come from that's going to propel me to do this. But I'd really just rather sit down and eat some popcorn or drink a glass of water or take a nap or play with the dog or, whatever. When I have those moments, and everybody has them, even a person who's an international mindset mentor, coach, emotional intelligence mentor, like I have them too. When I have those moments, what helps me is the little exercise that I've given you at the top of page 22. 22. I love that number, 22, duality. The top of page 22. And there are no coincidences in life. So I want you to write that down as well for yourself. There are no coincidences in life. The question at the top of page 22, and literally in this moment, this is our third season for this challenge. This is our third time to come on and do it. It's my third time to guide people through this wonderful success journal. And this is the first time that I've ever noticed that on page 22 is a question about duality. There are no coincidences, everyone. If following my routine, if just by sheer will, I can't push myself into a state of motivation, going to a memory or an association with someone who I look up to and likening myself to their experience for inspiration will then propel me there. So here's what I mean by that. Let's just say you're having one of those days where you're looking in your gas tank and you're like, it's empty. I can't do this. How do you push yourself forward anyway? You don't do it through force. That is a lot of resistance. You want to come from a powerful standpoint, right? Wouldn't you rather come from an empowered and a confident standpoint than pushing yourself through? That's like trying to walk through mud. It's just sludgy. And you're not going to get things done at the level that you'll want to get them done. So what I mean by looking at someone else, I'll think about my mentor. I have several mentors, and I think everyone should have several. I think everyone should have at least one paid mentor. And then you should also have what I call life mentors. Those are people who have held different positions throughout your life, who have a stake in your life and will help guide you. So I think about one specific life mentor of mine who I've worked for, who I've worked with, and now who has honored me by hiring me to come in and help teach mindset to people who work for him now. But I'll think about him on days when he was facing great resistance and on days when he may have not felt like moving forward. And I'll think about everything that he's accomplished and understanding that I'm tied to him through this mentorship, which I don't just say, oh, I admire this person, he's my mentor. If I'm going to consider somebody a mentor, I go to them and say, here's the role that I need you to play in my life. Will you be my mentor? Can I come to you with questions and for guidance? I get permission ahead of time. So these people know that I'm watching them. They know that I'm looking up to them. But I'll use an example from his life for motivation for me to propel myself forward. So you can think about that as well. All right, so we've got some more letters. Have you figured out that I like doing this? I like putting the first letter of some words on and saying, what do they mean? All right, so MEI. So I've given you the answer to this. Let's see if I can just pull you along here. Motivation, obviously, is the M. What did I say that I look for in my life mentors' actions? What did I say that I look for there? I look for something that he's done or gone through, and then I look at the results of his hard work, and that inspires me to action. So motivation equals inspiration. Those are how you fill in those blanks right there. Motivation equals inspiration. So I want you to write that down to help solidify that truth in your mind. I also would love for you to type it into the chat. I have some folks who are active in the chat. We've got some group leaders here as well. Fantastic. If you are with us live on Facebook, fantastic. Welcome. If you're with us on replay on either Facebook or YouTube, we are super happy that you're here. Make sure that you check out the video description for information and any links and things that we share with you. All right. So what I would like you to do is put into the chat or write down for yourself, actually share with us what something is that can inspire you into action. I'm looking for something outside of you. So I shared with you something internal that inspires me to action, which is I know that if I do this workout, I'm going to have better, cleaner energy. I'm going to feel better about myself. My body is going to feel better because I move it for strength and stability. It's part of our Creator's Creed, right? And so I know all of these truths that I profess to myself every single day with the Creator's Creed. So that's something inside. I pull that up from inside. What is something from outside that you can use to motivate you? Give it to me in the chat. Fantastic. All of you guys who are taking notes and typing things into the chat. Fantastic. That, if you missed my explanation of why I'm always asking you to write things down and put things in the chat, that actually helps to solidify your learning. So that helps you to remember all of this, because you could sit here, you could listen to it, you could not print out your workbook and just kind of page through it digitally, and that's fine. You're going to pick up some stuff, but the winners, the people who are really here to learn, the people who came to win, right? And how do you win? You show up first, but the people who came to win are the people who are being active, because when you are active and you are participating, different things fire off inside your brain, and it helps to enhance your learning, and it helps to enhance your retention. Has anybody here ever gone to a class and then you got out of the class and you were like, wait, what was that he or she said? Wait, what was that? I don't remember. Man, I was paying attention. Your brain just needs breaks, even little bitty breaks when you're just sitting here for 30 minutes or an hour. So by keeping yourself active, you're actually giving your brain an active break from that just solid paying attention. You get to pay attention, be active, pay attention, be active, and then it all builds upon itself. So let's see. I've got Kelly says, knowing that somebody, oops, it just scrolled past me, knowing that someone needs me to keep going so they can be motivated to keep going. I love that. That is outside, but also inside, Kelly. You kind of found the one that's both. Knowing that someone else needs you to keep going. Can I tell you guys a little story about that I just thought of because of what Kelly typed in? Is that okay? Give me a yes in the chat if it's okay that I share just a little personal story. I see some yeses. Okay, thank you. So it was 10 and a half years ago, and my mother was dying. And she passed away in October, and I had started training for a marathon. I had never run a marathon before, and I'd run half marathons and other little smaller races, 5Ks, 10Ks, things like that. But I'd never run a marathon, and I said, I really want to do it. And I kind of set a deadline for myself. I wanted to do it by the time I was a certain age. And so I said, okay, I had 2 years, had 2 opportunities to do it before that age. So I chose that year. It was 2010. And I was training, and in the middle of my training is when my mother transitioned, and her physical life on this earth ended because of the cancer that she was struggling with. And that was just a really hard time. And honestly, the training for the marathon helped me emotionally deal with it, because I had a lot of, I just remember some training runs that I would just be running, at a normal pace, and just tears just flowing down my face. But I was in really good shape, and I was a pretty fast runner. I could run a mile in about, for somebody who, I'm in my early 40s now, I was in my early 30s then. So for somebody in her early 30s who had never been a runner really, or a racing runner, I think an 8-minute mile is pretty good. So I was doing about an 8-minute mile, no big deal. My training was fantastic. I did it by the letter. I trained every single time I knew I was supposed to be training. I was rotating my shoes. I was doing all the things that marathoners are supposed to do. I was doing everything right. And my last long run was 22 miles. A marathon is 26.2 miles. Or 26 point, yeah. So anyway, but I was doing everything that I could do. And I was doing it right. And my longest run, 22 miles, when I finished, and I did it in the cold rain. And when I finished, somebody was like, how was it? And I said, I'm going to do great on marathon day because I could go back out there and rerun what I just ran. Marathon day was a different day. It was not a great run day for me. At mile 17, I started to feel horrible pains in my knees, as though someone was like driving nails through my knees, and it hurt really, really badly. By mile 20, I sat down on the ground crying. And my husband was waiting for me at mile 22 because he was going to do the last 4 miles with me. He was not running, but he was just going to run that last 4 miles with me. And he saw a couple of my friends pass, and they're like, she's probably already past the finish line. She's faster than we are, but I wasn't. I was like sitting on the side of the road bawling. And the thing that got me up, because it's real hard to get back up when you've run 20 miles on not a good day. You're in horrific pain and you're freezing, because I'd let my body cool down and it was really cold outside. It was December. It was in the winter. So what got me up off the ground? 2 things. One, my husband was waiting for me. I knew he was 2 miles ahead, so I wasn't just going to sit there and, Number 2, my dad, who had just lost his wife, with my daughter, who was 3 at the time, and my sister, my brother-in-law, my best friend, and her son, who was 4.5, were all waiting for me at the finish line. And yes, I wanted to go meet my husband because I didn't want him worried about me. And I knew that I was nobody knew where I was. So it's not like somebody was going to come pick me up. I got up and went 2 miles to meet my husband. And I said, I don't know if I can do this. And he said, you know what? We can walk. It doesn't matter how long it takes us to finish, but do you want to finish, or do you want me to ride my bike and go get the car? I said, no, I have to finish. Why did I have to finish? Because I wasn't going to let my little girl, all the other people there would have understood, like none of them had ever run a marathon and they didn't have any interest in that. But I wasn't going to let my little girl see her mom quit, because that's just not the kind of person that I am. And that's not the kind of person that I'm raising. So even when you feel like you might have to amputate a leg because you're in that much pain, what can motivate you forward to push? And I'll tell you, when I crossed the finish line, I was running. And I was running through the pain because I needed to have that physical show of strength for my little girl. And now she's 13 years old and she doesn't quit at anything. And she actually remembers that moment. She remembers seeing me. She remembers seeing me run. So a motivation can be that you can be an inspiration for others, but sometimes you need to get that inspiration from others. Is this all making sense? Welcome. I see a couple people who say first day. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. Is this making sense to you? Like the whole marathon story? Sometime, even when you're at your worst, you can dig deep and find an outside reason to keep going. Sometimes your reason to keep going may not even be understandable, but somehow you find that spark, and that spark is called inspiration. So this is commitment time again. we continue to make the same commitment to ourselves. Why do we repeat this commitment? We repeat our commitment because repetition is key. Persistence, and this is something I want you to write down. You can type it in the chat. Persistence will get you there, but consistency will keep you there. You have to be persistent. You have to find that motivation. You have to look for the inspiration to propel you into action persistently. Persistence means you don't give up. Consistency, the routine, knowing that you're a better person when you keep this pattern, knowing the way that you're going to feel, knowing the end game, knowing the result. Consistency will keep you there. It's not easy for someone to all of a sudden just decide, I'm going to run a marathon, and then just like learn how to run, learn how to do. Not super easy. It's not super easy to say, you know what, I'm going to start a business. I don't know anything about business, but let's start a business. People do it every day because they're persistent. Then they fall off. Why? The consistency piece. I want everybody to breathe that in. Take a nice, long, deep breath in through your nose into your lower belly. And exhale. Persistence will get you there, but consistency will keep you there. And through that consistency, you'll be able to continue to grow. All right. So what does motivation have to do with mastering your mind? Anybody? Give me some answers in the chat. What does motivation have to do with mastering your mind? Okay. Everything, really. Because if you don't master motivation, if you don't understand what motivates you, then you won't get your long-term goals done. It's just plain as that. Plain as that. All right, so we're going to do a visualization. Remember the guided tour we took through one of our own memories yesterday, and then I took you to the movies for a couple minutes. We fast forwarded through a James Bond movie. All right, so that was day number 2. We're on day number 3. I'm going to guide you through a visualization now. So I want you to enjoy another deep breath down to your belly. Hold it, feel it circulate slowly, slowly through your mouth. Shh. Let it out. I want you to close your eyes now. Just gently, gently close your eyes. Enjoy the space where you are. Continue to breathe. Focus on that breath in and out, how it feels through your nostrils. Think about the last time that you wanted to motivate someone else to do something and it didn't happen. Call that event into your mind. When did you want to motivate someone else to do something and it didn't happen? Could have been with your spouse, your significant other, could have been with a coworker, maybe your child, friend, your dog, your cat. It's real hard to motivate cats to do what you want. They have minds of their own. All right, so you have this in your mind, your eyes are closed, you're breathing, you're thinking about the last time that you tried to motivate someone to do something and it didn't happen. Now, I want you to step out emotionally, step out of your own shoes and put yourself in the other person's shoes. Think about what they were wanting, what they were needing, what they may have been thinking because of those wants and needs. It's all based in your wants and needs. So think about that. How could you have flipped the script on that so that what you were saying to this other person would have been more identifiable to connect to their wants and needs? Understanding the other person's standpoint is absolutely necessary when it comes to you motivating others. Nothing that I say can motivate you unless I understand something about where you're coming from. It's why we ask you questions when you are signing up for this challenge. You know, what do you want to gain out of this? How can we help you? We look through all those and we see common threads. Some people say that they're just stuck. They need something to help jar them out of this place where they are, where they feel emotionally stuck. Some people say that they need to learn how to manifest abundance because they don't have a lot of financial abundance in their life and they need it and want it. Some people just want to be happy. Positive relationships, all those, they're familiar to you because I've read your answers to them. I get it. I can't come here and meet those needs unless I know those needs. Just like you in this visualization can't get the other person to come alongside toward your goal if you don't know how to match your appeal to them to their wants and needs. You can open your eyes now if you haven't already. Okay. How could you have flipped the script there? That's the big question. So you've got to flip the script on yourself sometimes when you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, this would be a really great day to have a great day, but sleep in too, right? Anybody remember my mantra? This is a great day to have a great day. What if it's a great day to roll over and sleep in? That's motivating yourself. But you have to motivate yourself by knowing what's super important to you deep in your mind. So you motivate others by knowing what's super important to them deep in their mind. There was a woman who I worked for years ago, and she was an interesting person. She was one of those people who seemed super nice when you first meet her. But then she had some very emotionally damaging behaviors. She was a boss. She was hired to come in and take our original boss's place when the company was bought out. And she came in and she would just be so nice. She was the kind of person that you would think would, just bring you a tray of milk and cookies. And then she'd shift and she'd be this really hard edge, totalitarian type of a leader. And she even walked around. She was really short and had dyed very harsh red hair. And she would stomp around the floor. And this office where I worked, I had an office with a door, but most of the people in there had cubicles, just small partition walls up. She would walk around as though she was a first or second grade teacher with the roll. She had the seating chart filled out and she'd check if people were in their seats. She'd do this 1 minute before the office opened to make sure that nobody was late. And that really was the opposite of motivational. She had a lot of really, really bad habits that were demotivating. When you feel like you're stifled, it's demotivating, right? I'm sure that you can identify with at some point in your life when you felt as though you were being held back by some sort of oppression. I know a lot of people right now have been feeling that, and a lot of us have felt held back because of pandemic restrictions or whatnot. Well, she was holding people back because she was just demoralizing the entire office. So anyway, I was determined that she would not be my employer for long and made efforts to that effect. And she was certain that she was an incredible manager, so much so that whenever she was speaking to the entire staff or her entire team, she would remind us. There was a business book that she read that talked about 5 levels of leaders, 1 being the very worst low level of leader and 5 being the top. And she would always talk about the level 5 leader and how she was a level 5 leader. The first clue about people who are not good leaders is that they tell you that they're good leaders. Good leaders don't have to tell you that they're good leaders. You just know it because you see it, right? So leaders aren't appointed, they're ascended to their place. So if I have to tell you that I'm a good leader, you should doubt me. So she would always tell us that she's this level 5 leader, and I had never read this business book. So one day I asked her, this was before I had found another job. One day I asked her if I could borrow the book because I wanted to know what she was talking about. I'm like, if you're a level 5 leader, then I don't even want to be part of the number spectrum. I want to be a level B leader or an A leader or something that doesn't have to do with the number 5 because she was such a bad leader. I wanted to read the book so I knew what she was talking about, and I read the book. While I was in the middle of the book, I actually did find another job somewhere else. And when I came to let her know that I would be leaving the company, I brought her my letter of resignation and I brought her the book that she had lent me, and I brought her my key to the building and, my name tag, all the things that I needed to turn in. And I came to her and I thanked her. Now, she was the worst manager I've ever had. Worst. She's actually the reason that I shifted into management coaching for a long time, because managers, when they're bad managers, they're really bad. And I knew that people needed help to be better managers. And I was a manager at that point as well. But I came into her office with all of those things and I said, I want to let you know that I really appreciate your lending me this book. And I really appreciate, listen to what I'm saying, I really appreciate your showing me the kind of manager that I want to be through your daily example. Now, I just told you she's the worst manager that I ever had. So how in the world could that have been the truth? It's because through her actions, she inspired me to leave, to further develop my management skills so I wasn't a bad manager, and to help other people develop their management skills. And through her daily bad example, I just left out the word bad, through her daily bad example, I grew so much. Most people, when they're in a situation with a really bad boss, allow it to bring them down. You have to find your inspiration in every single situation. If you don't find the inspiration in every single situation, then you won't have the motivation to keep going. What if I had allowed her behavior to demoralize me? What if I had allowed her behavior to demotivate me? Chances are we wouldn't be here right now. You, me, all of us. Motivation equals inspiration. Most people are very poor motivators. Effective leaders and successful business people are really great motivators. But because most people are really poor motivators and most people are really poor self-motivators, that is the reason it is so important for you to have a coach or a mentor. You have to have that outside third-party person shining the light of truth on the things that are just easier for you to not see. And I'm not saying that you're ignoring them on purpose, but they're real easy to not dig deep and look at your ugly underbelly. It's real easy to do that. And the only person who can take you there is that coach and mentor. Remember a little while ago, I said I have several mentors and I think everyone should have one paid mentor. It's because the life mentors have a stake in your life. And there may be some places where they just won't go. Even if they're thinking things, even if it's in your best interest, they have a stake in your life. And they don't want to destroy that relationship. Your paid mentor is going to smack you upside the head with some truth. And we all need to be smacked upside the head with some truth now and again, myself included, which is why I have a paid mentor who will say, no, you're just out of line here, or you need to do this, or you need to go there, or you need to stop. Sometimes you just have to have that. So here's commitment time. I commit to investing in my own development. I commit to investing in my own development. Type it, write it, say it out loud. Say it with me. We're going to do it one more time. Say it with me. I commit to investing in my own development. We talked about it on day 2. Investment can mean time. It can mean resources. It can mean finances, whatever it takes. And why? Because I am worth it. Let's put that together. I commit to investing in my own development because I am worth it. I'm worth it. And that's what I said to myself at 5 o'clock this morning when I decided to roll out of bed instead of over in bed. You know what? I'm worth it. I'm worth this effort. I'm worth it. And you know what else I said to myself this morning? All the people who I'm going to be teaching, who I have the honor of mentoring today, the honor of teaching today, they're worth it. So for them, I need to bring my best self. So I needed to bring my best self for me, and I needed to bring my best self for you. Why? Because you are worth it. I commit to investing in my own development because I am worth it. And I commit to investing in my own development because you're worth it. It's a big commitment. And when you think about it and unpack it like that and really put your heart and your soul into it, it's very meaningful. I mean, does anybody else have chills? I bet you Jaime does. He always gets chills when I get chills. Just getting chills. I love it. I see all these I am worth it coming through because you are. This is amazing, the commitment that you're making to yourself right now. You're saying no matter what the resource is, I commit to investing it now because I'm worth it. Can you tell yourself that every day? If you tell yourself that every day, you'll start to believe it. You know, this morning I was doing my money mindset affirmations. Has everybody seen the money mindset affirmation video that we have on Go Coaching's YouTube channel? I think that I have it in some of the links. It is my favorite financial affirmation. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me through multiple sources in increasing quantities on a continuous basis. And I have a 2-hour loop of that affirmation. Let me grab the link for you guys really quickly. Maybe I can find it. And I can pop it into the chat. There we go. Yeah, I found it. Just a second. Here you go. There's that. So I was doing that this morning over and over and over again while I'm putting on my makeup, while I'm doing my hair, while I'm fixing the breakfast for the kids, while I'm doing, it's just going in the background. Can you use this affirmation? Or who would like for me, actually, get my notes. Who would like for me to create that as a loop? Would anybody like that as an affirmation loop? Just give me a yes in the chat if you would like that as an affirmation loop. I commit to invest in my own development because I'm worth it. Yes, absolutely. You're welcome. Okay, we'll create that as an affirmation loop for you all. Last spring during our first Master Your Mind 5-day challenge, I had a lot of folks asking me for a bedtime, like a sleep routine. So we created an entire sleep playlist to help people as they're going to sleep. And so I actually created what I was doing for myself anyway. And so it's this whole playlist that you can start before you're going to sleep. And then then you can keep it going while you're sleeping. And I can find that playlist and post that for you as well later. I'm not seeing it right now, but it's there. So I'll get that and give that to you as well. So what you've got to make sure that you're doing is that you're feeding your mind things that will then cause the inspiration. So that money mindset affirmation is very important to me. That's after I do my gratitude. So I do gratitude alone, and then I have gratitude recordings as well on the YouTube channel that are my gratitude, the points of gratitude that I practice. So I practice gratitude and then active gratitude, meaning that the recording is just going out loud in our house. And I mean, that is what we hear in the morning. It's pretty good, huh? You're feeding your mind things that will then grow and sprout into flowers of inspiration. Those are the little seeds that you plant that make the flowers of inspiration. All right, so back to your workbook here for just a minute. Make sure that you guys have all your instructions for your workbook. And please, if you don't get it done in class, just take a couple minutes. It's not that much work. Take a couple minutes and finish it outside of class. And that'll help you. It'll really help you to make those connections. And it will solidify that commitment that you just made, because your subconscious mind is going to be like, oh, he's doing it. Oh, she's doing it. Oh, she said she was going to do it, but now I see her doing it. This is great. Well, then we can do it. We can do it. All right. So on page 23, I asked you to give 3 regular day examples of times that you needed to use your emotional intelligence to motivate people into action. So what does that mean? We've been talking about emotional intelligence this whole time because emotional intelligence is the key to mastering your mindset, increasing your emotional intelligence, your EQ or EI. So if you're increasing your emotional intelligence, then you can use your emotional intelligence to motivate other people into action. So what is a way, then somebody type in the chat and let me know, what is a way that you have used your emotional intelligence, your way to emotionally relate to and regulate yourself in the world? What is a way that you have used that skill to influence and motivate others? Let's see if I can see anything in the chat. Let's see. Oh, I didn't. There's the YouTube video. I stuck it in a messenger string. There's the money, financial abundance affirmations that I did. Liam's here. Hello, Liam. So good to see you too as well. What is a way that you have? Tracy has no answers for this. You've never used your emotional intelligence to help to inspire someone else to action? Ever? You've never backed up and said, okay, I need this person or these people, or like I said earlier, the dog, to do what I want them to do or what I know is best for them to do. I can tell you what I do with my dogs. Sometimes when you're studying human behavior, it's best to go to the animal kingdom first so that you can understand the primal truth of where we've come from. So what do my dogs love more than anything in the world? Maybe it's tied for first with like scratches and snuggles, but their number one love is bacon. So I have to get, when I take them outside, and oftentimes we go off leash, but sometimes they decide, oh, I'm not going to listen to my voice commands, so I'm off leash. I'm going to do what I want to do, just like a child does. So I have to think, what is the thing that's going to spark inspiration in this dog to come back to me, not run after that person who's walking down the street, not bark at that person, not run into the street, not what can I do to inspire this? Bacon. That's all I have to say, y'all. It's all I have to say. And I have two very interested dogs who come right back to me. And you know what we do? We go into the kitchen, they get some bacon. I always follow through when I make a promise, but you say the word bacon and that is so motivating to them because they're like, oh, yummy, yummy. We love that. You can inspire anybody by speaking to what their primal desires are. So Tracy, I know that you have an answer to this. You do have an answer to this. So dig deep and find it. Let's see. I've used it to diffuse a situation or calm someone down. Yes. Absolutely. That is really, really great. You can calm somebody down with motivation. Many of you all know that our youngest child has special needs. And sometimes it's not smooth sailing with her. It's any parents with children who have special needs understand that sometimes even the best plans just go awry because you never know what's going to happen with the child. This morning was one of those mornings that I need to be, really focused to be successful for you, to help you grow. This was a rough morning. Okay. How do I motivate this child to calm and go along the morning the way that she needs to for her own success and the way that I need her to, so that I can be focused on you? There's something that happens every Wednesday in this little girl's life, and she loves it. It's Wednesday after school. And all I needed to do was remind her that little girls who follow the rules get to go to gymnastics. And little girls who don't follow the rules don't get that privilege. That was the same thing as saying bacon for my dogs. How do you inspire your employees into action? Employees usually want one of two things: time or money. You honor them and help to protect those assets for them. You have to understand what the person's motivation is. What did my little girl want this morning? Attention and privileges. So I gave her some attention and I reminded her of the privileges that would be hers if she plays by the rules. Tracy, I know that you've done this. I know that it's worked for you at least sometime, and maybe it doesn't always work. I have said bacon to my dogs before, and they're like, but there's a squirrel. Squirrel trumps bacon, kind of like rock, paper, scissors. Yeah, I'm going to go for the squirrel. Okay. It may not be foolproof, but understanding the psychology of how to get behind motivation so that you can spark that inspiration will help you to be more successful. And when you understand that, then all of a sudden you can start to play the mind games with yourself. Am I worth it? Am I worth it? I told myself that I'm worth it. I made that commitment. Dr. Jane says that I'm worth it. Dr. Jane said that she took actions to improve herself because I'm worth it. So I must be. If somebody else is doing things because I'm worth it, that's the question that I have to ask myself sometimes at 5 a.m. Yeah, I could roll over, but am I worth this effort? Heck yeah, I'm worth this effort. I'm worth this effort and more. So that is inspiring to get me to move. Let's see. Angie has an answer. I brought a junior developer on my team as a contractor, and he was so worried about becoming full-time. I told him not to stress out, focus on the growth opportunities, and appreciate our awesome boss. He became full-time and brought up how I told him to focus on the now. Yes, his desire was to know the future. And guess what? There's not a really large chance that you're going to just have a crystal ball that's going to show you everything. Are there certain areas of clairvoyancy? Absolutely. And we can get into those on another challenge. But do you really get to just see everything? No. And so when you're worried about something, worry takes you out of this moment and either places you in the past or tries to place you in the future. And you don't have that time machine for the future. Not that kind of time machine. So instead, what Angie had this team member do is exactly right. Focus on the now. If you want to gain something, focus on the what is the step that I do right now to get there, and calm, because the calm mind is a productive mind. A calm mind is a productive mind. That's something really important to remember. If you're really worked up about something and you're trying to produce work of any sort, you've got to calm down. I was just spending some time yesterday. I'm part of a parents group of adoptive parents, and all of the children have special needs. And I was guiding this group yesterday afternoon and helping to see some of the needs behind the children's behavior. I just guided you through just a little bit of that a second ago. But one of the moms I gave a tool to that a lot of our mentees with Guild Coaching know, and that is that anger, and I'll write it down really quickly for you guys. The word anger, hopefully you can see it, A-N-G-E-R. Can you see that? Anger, not very well. But anger is one letter short of danger. And so anger is a stop sign, because if you keep going, you're going to have danger. So I gave her that little tool because her child was very much out of control, these children are all severely emotionally dysregulated and have been abused. And it's, sad stories, but you can only sit around and wallow in your sad story for so long. And then you've either got to fall prey to it, or you've got to pick yourself up and move forward. So which would you want to do if it was your child? Help them pick up and move forward. So I showed her that tool, and all that is something that makes sense to our brain that can help calm the child down. Anger is one letter short of danger. And then I made a little stop sign picture for her that says anger instead of stop. And so anger is a stop sign. And the mom just thought that was brilliant. And I've used it for years, for me, for my clients, for our kids. Anger is a stop sign. Anger is one letter short of danger. And if you can just calm someone down to help them have a more level mind, deep breathing, drink some water, flush out those fight or flight chemicals that are surging and overwhelming your brain, then you can think more clearly, just like this person that Angie had on her team. She did the exact same thing. She said, you know what? Worrying about full-time isn't going to get you full-time, but you can earn it if you pay attention to the day that you're on. The marathon that I ran, it took me 6 months to train to be able to run that long. And it could have been a great run day and I could have done it fast. It was not a great run day, no problem. Still finished, but it didn't happen overnight. It's a 6-month training process to run a marathon. And that's from 0 to 26.2. That's starting with no running at all. It takes you 6 months. It may not take that long if you're already a runner. But you have to understand the motivation there, and you have to know certain ways to reason and sometimes trick your brain. Did my brain want a little bit more sleep this morning? Yes. How do I trick my brain into waking up enough to do what's right for me? I know the questions that I have to ask myself to get a little fire in my belly. This morning, I was looking at some messages from you all, and if you haven't connected with your group leaders yet, your group leaders are here in the chat. If you don't know who they are, you can just message us or tag me and just say, I don't know who my group leader is, and then tag me, and then I can go and look and retag your group leader. But they all have little chat groups in Facebook Messenger, and they're helping people along. And I saw Prem, one of our group leaders, asked her group, today's about motivation, what's motivating for you? And somebody answered and had flames like all around their word. And I thought, that's really great, because you have to have that fire in your belly. And so fire is, in a positive way, fire is one of the best visualizations that you can have for motivation, because you want it to be hot. You want to be cooking with hot grease. You know what I'm saying? You want to have that fire lit so that you can stay on and stay in track. Is this all making sense for you? Now, if you do have questions, I'm going to be popping on in a few minutes in the Gilded Life group just to answer those questions like I've done the last couple of days. But what I want you to do right now is just think about some of the things that you've learned here, whether it's a new idea or a new thought. Maybe it's you haven't ever understood really the importance of affirmations before, and now you see, wow, I get it. It has to be consistent in order to keep my mindset there. Anything like that, go ahead and start thinking about your 3 aha moments and make that commitment to yourself to go live. I've seen a couple of you all go live in the Creator Circle group, and that's fantastic. Go live in there and share this with other people, because teaching is learning. When you're teaching it to other people, you learn it more yourself. You have new realizations. There's 2 things that I said to you here today that I'm like, this is my 3rd time through this, but I'm just noticing this. And I created it. So, if I'm still learning here with you today, how much do you stand to learn? Let me check the chat and see. Yes, we have several group leaders who are saying that they need their are telling who their people are. So the way that we split things up with group leaders is just first letter of your surname. So my surname is Mim, so I would be M. So I would go with the group leader who's assigned M. So that's just how we just made it easier on everybody this time. All right. Yes, the D, anger. That is really, really important, especially if you have someone who is a hothead, who is prone to be really emotional. We're talking about emotional intelligence, but people who have emotional outbursts are showing their lack of emotional intelligence. So one of the things that is the bedrock of emotional intelligence is understanding what motivates you, understanding how to self-regulate, which is what we worked on day 3, how to self-regulate your emotions, how to connect them with the energy that you're feeling. That was day 2. And now to connect all of that energy into what motivates you. So how to connect those 3 pieces so that you can make sure that you're constantly pulling up from within and gathering from without in order to inspire that forward movement. So I've asked you to come up with your 3 biggest aha moments or your 3 biggest takeaways. I want you to make your 3 commitments between today and tomorrow, whether it's to go back and make sure that you finish so far these 24 pages of your success journal, whether it is to go live in the group. Please do that. Tag me. If you don't tag me, I might not see it. So I want you to tag me by name, please, so that I make sure that group has a ton of things being posted all the time. And I don't want to miss you. I don't want to miss your video, your voice, your wonderful takeaways. Teach me. Will you do that? Will everybody please make a commitment right now? Teach me, help me learn so I can help you more, because that's what community is. Okay, so let me see what else is going on in the chat. Fantastic. Lots of leaders connecting with folks. Phenomenal, phenomenal. Okay, so as we wrap up today, I want us to say our daily affirmation. Affirmations are so important that you read it and then say it out loud and even write it back down for yourself, because you're convincing your brain that it's true. And day after day after day, you're making that imprint the same way that you learned the alphabet, the same way that you learned your numbers. You repeated it and you repeated it and you repeated it. And so you repeat this. That's why I do the same gratitude, the same money mindset every single day, because it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And the more you believe it, the more that you embody that energy and the more that you draw that energy from the outside toward yourself. Okay. So I've written affirmations for you throughout this, and you can use them day after day after day. Ready? We're going to do it together. Page 24 at the bottom. I am a powerful creator who takes aligned action. I am a powerful creator who takes aligned action. What does aligned action have to do with motivation? If you're motivated to do something, you take aligned action that is in line with your goals so that you can accomplish it. Rolling over in bed this morning and going back to sleep was not aligned with my end goal. Getting up, committing to my routine, doing my workout, clearing my mind, making sure that I was feeding those affirmations into my brain today so that I can be consistent and continue supporting myself, my clients, my mentees, my family, my kids, everybody is so very important. So you have to be motivated and committed to taking aligned action. Now, you've already committed to investing in yourself. And tomorrow, I'm going to put that commitment to the test. In our day number 4, I'm going to test out your commitment to investing in your own development because you are worth it. So we're going to test that out tomorrow. But in the meantime, make sure that you repeat this affirmation to yourself several times today. I am a powerful creator who takes aligned action. And this affirmation is super helpful if you reach something and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Do I do this or do I do that? I just don't know. Come back to this affirmation and say, I am a powerful creator who takes aligned action. And then ask yourself, which is the aligned action? If you say both of them are aligned with my goal, which aligns more strongly? Which is more strongly aligned? And that will be your answer. For those of you who are joining us live, I will be back with you shortly in the Gilded Life group for any of your Q&A. For those of you who are joining us on YouTube, make sure that you thumbs up this video, and please, any questions that you have, put it in the comments below and we will come back and we will answer those for you. All right, everyone, have a beautiful day and we'll see you tomorrow for day 4. Bye.